We were there when Air Force One touched down at Palm Springs International Airport, and what a sight it was. And coming up, we talk about what's next on the president's agenda during his weekend visit to the Valley.
This is KMIR News Special Edition.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight for your special edition of KMIR News. I am Elizabeth Bobian. President Barack Obama is in Rancho Mirage tonight, ending the first day of a long weekend at the SUNNYLANDS estate. Before coming to Palm Springs, President Obama was in Fresno, touring the drought-stricken farmlands. He later held a roundtable with farmers. He also announced more than $160 million in federal aid to California to help ease the suffering from one of the worst droughts in more than 100 years. After Fresno, he was Palm Springs bound. This is video of Air Force One flying into Palm Springs International Airport just before 7 this evening. After touching down, the president took a brief moment to shake hands with local Valley leaders. First Lady Michelle Obama was not with the president, but he was accompanied by Senator Barbara Boxer, who was also with him in Fresno. After that, it was into the motorcade and off to the SUNNYLANDS estate in Rancho Mirage, where he was set to meet with King Abdullah II. On tonight's agenda for that meeting with the king was a number of topics. One of the most urgent, Syria's civil war and efforts to forge peace between Israel and the Palestinians. Let's head out now to the SUNNYLANDS estate. That is where Gino Lamont is live tonight. Gino.
Good evening, Elizabeth. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, the president arrived here at SUNNYLANDS at about 7:34 on the motorcade, as you just mentioned, making its way from Palm Springs. King Abdullah arrived at 7:52 and was greeted by the president right there in front of the estate itself on the red carpet. The two men made their way indoors, where both made statements supporting one another, and the president announcing a $1 billion aid package that he would present to Congress in hopes of helping Jordan through this very trying time as they suffer through all the refugees that are making their way out of Syria and right there to the Jordanian border. The two men then sat down to dinner at about 9 o'clock. And the White House tells us tonight that that dinner lasted 2 hours and 15 minutes. And the topics were, as Elizabeth just mentioned, everything from Syria to Jordan and to what's going on in Iran and Iraq and Middle East peace in general. The men concluded the formal portion of the evening a short time ago, though we've seen no signs of King Abdullah having left the estate just yet. So as far as we know, the king and the president are still together inside the Annenberg estate at this hour. And also, the King of Jordan is expected to leave the Coachella Valley sometime late tonight, leaving the president wide open for the rest of the weekend. What he'll do, we're told, mostly golf and relaxation. Live in Rancho Mirage, I'm Gino Lamont. Elizabeth, let's go back to you.
Right, not a bad weekend planned out. Thank you very much, Gino. Well, you saw the president arrive on Air Force One at the Palm Springs International Airport live right here on KMIR this evening. KMIR's Angela Monroe was there and has this report.
President Obama is spending the weekend here in the Valley, and local leaders were on the tarmac to greet him, including Congressman Raul Ruiz.
Well, it's always great to have the president come to our home desert. It's always great because I get the opportunity to really advocate for the people that I serve.
Congressman Ruiz says the conversation between the president and the King of Jordan is important.
Making sure that we roll back all the nuclear weapon capacity that Iran has, and especially talk about the refugee crisis from Syria.
But the president is sure to also have some fun on this long President's Day weekend.
I do believe that the president would also want to play a little round of golf in our beautiful desert under this full moon on this wonderful Valentine's Day.
The president wasn't with his wife this Valentine's, but Ruiz brought his fiancée to Air Force One's arrival.
She's the love of my life, and it's good to spend Valentine's Day together, even if it has to do with work.
And Rancho Mirage Mayor Richard Kite says this presidential visit is great publicity for the city.
You know, we really look forward to our long-term relationship with SUNNYLANDS, and hopefully we'll have more presidents out, more dignitaries, and more businessmen.
And this time of year, the weather is better than the president's last visit.
I told him, I said it was about 30 degrees cooler tonight than it was when he was here before. Yeah, I think he'll really have a good time.
This is the second time in just half a year that the president has arrived on Air Force One here in the Valley. He's scheduled to leave at 1 p.m. on Monday. In Palm Springs, I'm Angela Monroe for KMIR News.
And with the president in town, there are several road closures we want to make sure that you know about. In Palm Springs, one of the main access roads to the airport, Kirk Douglas Way, is closed from Ramon to El Cielo, and a portion of Airport Center Drive from Avenue Evelita to El Placer Road. Both of these closures will remain in effect until Monday afternoon when the president leaves. Also, out in Rancho Mirage, Bob Hope Drive is closed from Gerald Ford to Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra is also shut down in the eastbound lanes all the way to Von Den Road. That closure as well will remain in effect until 1 o'clock Monday afternoon. A crowd gathered at the Palm Springs International Airport to watch President Obama arrive this evening. KMIR's Kitty Alvarado was there when Air Force One touched down and spoke to one of his biggest supporters, who became somewhat of a local celebrity himself.
You have been here since
10:30.
Now, why were you here so early?
Because my president is coming in, and I want to see him.
And you came out last time as well.
I certainly did.
And last time it was a lot hotter.
A lot harder. I came out a lot earlier.
And what would you tell the president?
I love him.
Well, we were looking for Willie earlier, and we were talking to one of the police officers, and they automatically just mentioned Willie's name and said he's over there behind the Gold's Gym. So my friend and I, Jeff, decided to run out and find him, and we found him. He's famous.
And of course, Willie says he will not miss the president's departure on Monday afternoon. Stay with KMIR for continuing coverage of the summit at SUNNYLANDS. We will have updates each day until Air Force One makes its way out of the valley again. That'll happen Monday afternoon around 1 o'clock.